One night in April 1991, in the small town of Clinton, Missouri, it was late, and the streets were nearly empty. The streetlights cast a quiet glow over the deserted sidewalks. There were no car horns, no footsteps, only the soft breeze rustling through the trees and the public phone booths that had long become familiar to the town's residents. In that quiet setting, a young woman stepped into a phone booth. She was talking to her fiancé on the line, all while subconsciously noticing an old pickup truck parked nearby. Just a few minutes later, the call was abruptly cut off. Angela Hammond, a 20-year-old college student 4 months pregnant, vanished without a trace. Angela Marie Hammond was born on February 9, 1971. She was an energetic, intelligent young woman with light brown, curly hair, about 5'3" tall, with a petite frame. Angela was loved by her friends and family, actively involved in social activities, and dreamed of studying psychology after giving birth. She was engaged to Rob Schaefer, her 18-year-old boyfriend, a high school senior, football player, and soon-to-be member of the National Guard. The couple was considered a perfect match in the small town of Clinton. On the evening of April 4, 1991, Angela went to her friend Kyla's house to chat and babysit for her. Around 10 p.m., she left to meet Rob. They only met briefly since Rob was tired after a football game and needed to go home early. Angela then drove her car, a Ford Tempo, to a parking lot near the Old Town Square, where there was a public payphone. It was around 11:15 p.m. She called Rob from that payphone, a call that would forever change both of their lives. Over the phone, Angela told Rob about her evening, sharing small, ordinary stories like any young couple would. But while chatting, she noticed a strange man walking around the phone booth area. She described him as a tall white male with a beard, wearing large-rimmed glasses, messy-looking, dressed in overalls, and carrying a flashlight. He was driving a late 60s or early 70s model Ford pickup truck, two-tone green, lighter on the bottom, darker on top. And most notably, there was a decal of a jumping fish on the rear window. The front left of the truck had a small dent. Angela said the man came over and asked if she needed to use the phone, then returned to his truck. She felt uneasy and kept the line open to describe him further. Suddenly, her voice turned panicked. "Rob, he's coming back." Then a scream rang out. Rob heard a loud scream, the sound of a struggle, then silence. He jumped into his car and rushed to the scene. On the way, Rob spotted a pickup truck matching Angela's description coming from the opposite direction. As the two vehicles passed, he heard Angela's voice calling his name from inside the other vehicle. Without hesitation, Rob turned around and gave chase. But only about a mile in, his old Chevrolet Cavalier suffered a transmission failure and couldn't go any further. Rob had no choice but to return to town and report the incident to the police. Clinton police quickly launched an investigation. They searched the area around the phone booth and found the receiver still swinging. There were no signs of a struggle, no blood, no personal belongings left behind. It was as if Angela had vanished into the night. The description of the green pickup truck, the jumping fish decal, and the dent on the front left was broadcast across the entire state of Missouri. For days afterwards, Clinton was gripped by fear. A young, pregnant woman had been abducted in the middle of a peaceful small town, just blocks from the police station. It was shocking. Local media covered the case relentlessly. Every lead was pursued, but none led to answers. Even Rob, her boyfriend, was initially a suspect and had to undergo a polygraph test. But after another witness confirmed seeing a truck matching the same description, he was cleared of suspicion. And then the questions began. Did the man in the pickup truck know Angela would be there, or was it a random attack? Why was he bold enough to act in the middle of town? And why did no one else see anything except Rob? What do you think? Was the pickup truck really the key clue, or just one part of a larger, more elaborate plan? If you were the one on that call, what would you have done differently? Share your thoughts in the comments below, because sometimes a fresh perspective from someone on the outside can be the breakthrough a cold case needs after more than 30 years of silence.
The search for Angela Hammond quickly became one of the largest missing person investigations the town of Clinton had ever seen. Police, rescue teams, and local volunteers swarmed the area around the phone booth, combing every street and small wooded area surrounding the neighborhood. But Angela seemed to have vanished without a trace. The only clue was the final phone call and the detailed description she managed to give before screaming in panic. On the night of April 4, 1991, after Rob Schaefer, Angela's fiancé, rushed to the scene, he claimed he saw a green pickup truck with a fish decal on the rear window driving in the opposite direction. Rob stated that he heard a voice screaming his name from inside the truck, but that detail was never independently verified by any witness or device. As he attempted to turn around and give chase, his Chevrolet Cavalier suffered a transmission failure. He was forced to return to town and filed a report at the police station around midnight. In the days that followed, police received numerous calls from residents claiming to have seen a vehicle matching the description. One person insisted they saw the truck in the town of Warsaw, about 30 miles south of Clinton. But every lead hit a dead end. The two-tone green Ford pickup, model year 1969 to 1971, was not uncommon in rural Missouri at the time. Its most distinctive features, the jumping fish decal and the small dent in the front, still weren't enough to identify a suspect. Under growing public pressure, police released a suspect description: a white male, approximately 30 years old, around 5 feet 11 inches tall, brown hair, a beard, wearing glasses, and dressed in dark-colored overalls, possibly a laborer. He was said to appear unkempt and somewhat odd. Angela had described him carefully, and her account was confirmed in the official police report. A composite sketch of the suspect was widely distributed and appeared on bulletin boards, television, and in newspapers throughout the region. The Hammond family was devastated. Marcia, Angela's mother, persistently engaged with the press, appeared on television, and organized prayer vigils pleading for community support. They offered thousands of dollars in reward money to anyone with information about Angela. But as time passed, hope began to fade. As for Rob Schaefer, although his alibi was verified, many still viewed him with suspicion, since he was the last person to speak with Angela. Some believed the entire story about chasing the pickup truck might have been fabricated. But Rob willingly took a polygraph test and passed. He also stated that he chased the truck that night, but no independent witness was ever confirmed to have seen it. Even so, the incident sent Rob into years of emotional turmoil. He later said that every night, Angela's final scream still echoed in his mind. He blamed himself for not preventing what happened, for the old car that failed him in the most critical moment. 4 months after the abduction, in August 1991, 2 similar cases occurred in nearby towns. A woman was pulled into a vehicle while walking near a park in Bolivar, and a teenage girl mysteriously vanished in an area near Springfield. Missouri State Police began to suspect a possible serial abductor operating in the region. In particular, Angela's disappearance bore striking similarities to the case of Cheryl Ann Kenny, a 30-year-old bank employee who vanished in February 1991 in Nevada, Missouri, just about 45 miles from Clinton. Cheryl also disappeared after working a night shift, and her car was found parked, locked, with no signs of struggle. No witnesses, no cameras, no leads. Just like Angela, Cheryl vanished into the night without a trace. The 2 cases were compared side by side, and a theory emerged about a predator stalking women in the dark. But all investigative efforts failed to yield any solid results. Angela Hammond's case gradually went cold, joining the ranks of hundreds of unsolved cases across the United States. However, in 2021, hope was unexpectedly reignited when Clinton police announced they were reviewing the case using modern technology. A new team of investigators, working with DNA analysts and real-time location experts, began to re-examine the entire case file. Could technology finally break the silence that lasted more than 30 decades? Could a seemingly small detail like the fish decal be the key to unlocking the mystery? And what do you think about the possibility that a pattern of connected crimes had gone unnoticed all along? Share your thoughts in the comments. Who knows? Your questions might become the clue that opens a new path in an investigation long thought to be at a dead end. Although the Angela Hammond case had gone cold for 3 decades, for her family and for the Clinton community, time was never enough to ease the pain of losing her. Angela wasn't just a promising young woman. She was a daughter, a friend, a fiancé, and a mother who never got to meet her first child. She vanished under mysterious circumstances just blocks away from the police station in a town where everyone knew each other. So, what really happened? In the years that followed, every lead slowly faded into obscurity. Police continued to chase down sparse tips. There were anonymous phone calls, people who claimed they saw the green pickup truck at a gas station miles away, even inmates who claimed to know something. But none of the details were compelling enough to lead to a concrete suspect. In 1992, the FBI officially joined the investigation into Angela Hammond's disappearance, working with Clinton police to review similar missing person cases across Missouri and neighboring states. They considered the possibility that this wasn't an isolated attack, but rather part of a series of cases sharing a common pattern: young women abducted while alone at night, with no bodies, no solid evidence, and no one ever charged. One of the names that came up was Tommy Lynn Sells, a notorious serial killer who claimed to have murdered over 70 people across the United States. He had operated in the Midwest in the early 1990s, prompting investigators to question his involvement. However, there was no DNA evidence, no witnesses, or any trace that Sells had ever been in Clinton at the time of Angela's disappearance. He never confessed to the case and was executed in 2014. Another suspect was David L. Williams, a man who had been arrested for kidnapping and assaulting women using a pickup truck in the surrounding area. His vehicle closely matched Rob Schaefer's description: green in color, dented, with a rear window decal. But in the end, there wasn't enough evidence to charge Williams in Angela's case. There were even theories that the case might be connected to human trafficking networks, as Angela was pregnant, a detail that led some to speculate she may have been targeted not only out of violence, but for more sinister reasons. However, this theory was never backed by any concrete evidence and never became an official line of investigation. Throughout it all, Angela's mother, Marcia, never gave up. She appeared on several television programs like Unsolved Mysteries and America's Most Wanted, appealing to the public for help and sharing all known details about the case. She once said, "I don't need to know who did it. I just need to know what happened to my daughter." By 2021, Clinton police announced they were reopening the case with the support of modern technology, DNA analysis, behavioral modeling, and phone data matching, tools that hadn't existed in 1991. They also said they were working closely with the FBI to review unsolved cases in the region with similar characteristics. What makes the Angela Hammond case so heartbreaking isn't just the life that was taken, it's that she did everything a victim could possibly do to help herself. She was alert, described the suspect in detail, stayed on the phone, and didn't panic. Rob also acted fast, chasing the suspect's truck within seconds. And yet all of that wasn't enough to save her. To this day, the green pickup truck with the fish decal, a detail believed to be the key, has never been found. The dented left front, the rear window, the decal, these remain all that's left from Rob's account. What do you think? Was Angela's abductor someone from the community who had been watching her, or was it a random passerby who chose his victim on impulse? Leave your theories in the comments. Sometimes a small observation from a viewer might be the missing puzzle piece in a case like this, because the truth should never be forgotten, and justice is never too late. If you believe this story deserves to be heard, please hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Every interaction you make is a step closer to ensuring cases like this aren't buried in silence.